You're the blessings every time I turn around. You're the lessons that I learn every time I try to find. You're the aloe when I'm burned. Every time I think I found everything that I'm looking for. You're the sign saying stop, to take a bow and keep moving forward, and start opening up your heart. It'll open all the doors, and only then you'll start to hear the world singing for us. With your mind and your heart aligned in purpose, everything will feel gorgeous. It's the gift to realize.
Everything is a gift.
That everything is a gift. Every time I turn around, every time I think about all that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I am grateful for it all. Every day I sit and pray, 'cause what I have is more than I deserve or could ever imagine. How do I give back for all of these blessings so everybody can have them? Doesn't really matter if I'm rich or poor, got a family. Bad things happen, I can just complain. To be grateful for, lift up my head, and I open my heart, and the gratitude goes out for everything near and far. All that I am, all that I'm seeing, all that I've been, all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I am grateful for it all. All that I have, all that I see, all that I've been, all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I am grateful for it
I'm so glad to have my mom here on Mother's Day. Mothers are so special. I want to read you this poem from Billy Collins. He was the Poet Laureate of the United States, and he wrote this poem called The Lanyard. He said, "The other day I was ricocheting slowly off the blue walls of this room, moving as if underwater from typewriter to piano, from bookshelf to an envelope lying on the floor, when I found myself in the L section of the dictionary, where my eyes fell upon the word lanyard. Now, no cookie nibbled by a French novelist could send one into the past more suddenly, a past where I sat on a workbench at a camp by a deep Adirondack lake, learning how to braid long, thin plastic strips into a lanyard, a gift for my mother. Now, I had never seen anyone use a lanyard or wear one, if that's what you do with one. But that did not keep me from crossing strand over strand again and again until I had made a boxy red and white lanyard for my mother. She gave me life and milk from her breasts, and I gave her a lanyard. She nursed me in many a sick room, lifted spoons of medicine to my lips, laid cold face cloths on my forehead, and then led me out into the air, light, and taught me to walk and to swim, and I, in return, presented her with a lanyard. Here's 1,000 meals, she said, and here is clothing and a good education, and here is your lanyard, I replied, which I made with a little help from a counselor. Here is a breathing body, a beating heart, strong legs, bones, and teeth, and 2 clear eyes to read the world, she whispered. And here, I said, is the lanyard I made at camp. And here, I wish to say to her now, is a small gift, not the worn truth that you can never repay your mother, but the rueful admission that when she took the 2-toned lanyard from my hand, I was as sure as a boy could be that this useless, worthless thing I wove out of boredom would be enough to make us even. So there it is, Billy Collins, struggling in his own inimitable way with that question, how the heck can we ever repay our mother for all the things that they've done? And the truth is, we could never repay our mother or those who've mothered us, whether they're our biological mother or chosen mothers or people who just came in to fill in the gaps. Someone wrote that Mother's Day is traditionally the day when children give something back to their mothers for all the spit they produce to wash our dirty faces, all the old gum they held in their hands, all those noses they wiped, all those bloody knees they kissed to make well. This is the day mothers are rewarded for washing sheets in the middle of the night, driving kids to school when they missed the bus, and enduring all those football and soccer games in the rain. It's a day of appreciation for making our children finish something that they said they could not do, for not believing them when they said, I hate you, and for sharing the good times and the bad times. So I hope that you, if you haven't already, that you will take some time today to thank your mother, those who've mothered you. And if your mother is gone or your mothers have passed on, that you'll take time to remember them and to share stories about what you've learned from them, as Dorothy did with the people around you, with your children and grandchildren and others. Now, it's been said that motherhood is its own reward. And I know that has to be true, but at the same time, motherhood is also has to be one of the hardest jobs in the world. Those difficult decisions about, what to do and how to raise our kids, and they just don't write a manual for it. And there's just times when you're just not sure what's best. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I have them sing in the choir? Should I have them sit out? All those kinds of questions that we have to struggle with about what does it mean to be consistent? What does it mean to love them into life so that because we're not raising children, we're raising adults. We're trying to raise adults. And there's a story about a mother. Fred Craddock tells this story. He says, my wife Nettie and I got acquainted in Chautauqua, New York, with a minister who had no arms. He was born with nothing from here, both sides, no arms. He was telling us one day there at Chautauqua the experience of learning to put on his clothes with no arms. He said his mother always dressed him, and he'd gotten to be a pretty big boy. She fed him, she dressed him, and one day she put his clothes in the middle of the floor and said, dress yourself. He said, I can't dress myself, I don't have. And she said, you'll have to dress yourself. He said, I kicked, I screamed, I kicked, I screamed, I yelled, you don't love me anymore. And yelled it over and over and over. And then finally, he says, I realized that if I were going to get any clothes on, I'd have to get my clothes on. And after hours, literally hours of struggle, he got some clothes on. He said, it wasn't until much, much later that I knew my mother was in the next room crying the whole time. Now, I know if you're a mother, you know exactly those moments when your child is hurting and you're hurting with them. And those times when you're just not sure, is this the right thing to do or not? I don't know. Maybe I'm hurting them. Maybe I'm not. It is one of the hardest jobs imaginable. And I know everybody does the best within their capability to do it. And so all you mothers, we honor you and we love you. And we're so thankful for you and for our own mothers. If your mother's not here, if your mother hurt you in some ways, I hope you also remember the ways in which she was probably trying to do her best, the best she could do with whatever cards she was dealt in her own life. So maybe we can find even some forgiveness for those mistakes. But no matter who you are, we all have one thing in common. We all have one universal experience that we all have had. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what background you have, how old you are, how young you are. We all share one thing absolutely in common. It all began for us through a mother in a womb. We began our lives absolutely and completely connected to our biological mother. All of us. Total connection. Complete oneness was the first 8 or 9 months of our existence. My colleague, Marlin Lavanhar, describes it like this. She says, we come into the world reluctantly, always, for we leave a place where all is one complete circle of unity, where our every need is met, where there is a singular unity. There's no separation in the womb. The two are one. One heartbeat, one flow of blood and life. There's no separation. The two are one, and we are forever after painfully separate. We forevermore search for that lost sense of complete wholeness. We search in various ways. We search as we make love. We lie in the arms of a lover, often naked and trusting and vulnerable, and in that union lose the self in a sweet oneness and ecstatic unity. We search for it perhaps even when we give ourselves to a cause that's larger than ourself. Some part of us, we draw part of that desire to be part of something larger than ourselves from this beginning experience, this lost unity from which we come. For those of us who are drawn to spirituality, we search for it in mystical experiences. We seek that fundamental unity with God or spirit or the totality of the universe. Reverend Sewell goes on to say, we look for a sense of reconciliation and unity throughout our entire lives, which is love. At its core, the essence and beginning of all of our lives is a profound connectedness and love. On this Mother's Day, as we thank our mothers and those who've mothered us, let us open ourselves to the love that is the very essence of our nature, knowing that it is our foundational experience. It's at the core of who we are, no matter who we are. No matter how brilliant our mothers were or how lacking they were, it all began with deep connection, unity, oneness, and love. We soaked in it. We bathed in it. We kicked and struggled and elbowed our way through this incredible sense when every need was being met. And we knew we were safe and all was okay. And so every time we transcend our self-centeredness and we see that this life is about a lot more than just me and myself and my needs and my wants, and we reach out to others, whether we're singing together or being in church together or sharing a flower with one another in this ceremony, when we take time to connect, we are moving in through our true essence, which is love. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have your mother with you today, I invite you to look at your mother and think to yourself, we were one, and we still are one. You breathed for me. You breathed for me. Your heart beat for me. Your blood flowed through my body. If your mother isn't here for whatever reason, try to imagine your mother and remember that you were one. Let us pray. Dear God, on this Mother's Day, we remember the ones who birthed us and who birthed us in some pain. And we remember all those who came into our lives as nurturing persons, who cared enough to listen, who stood by us when we were in trouble, who gave something of themselves that we might grow strong and whole. We cannot repay them, not with all the lanyards or all the flowers in the world. But we can only repay them by taking that love that we've been given and reminding others of the unity from which we all came and to which we all return. Help us understand that our essence is love. Our foundation is connectedness. Help us to find ways to bring that beautiful love, that fundamental essence of relationship and connection into our lives and into the lives of other people around us. Help us to build a community that is one of the greatest welcome and the greatest hospitality that the world has ever seen. Welcoming all from far and wide. But most of all, help us know that we are welcome. We are at home in this earth. We are safe because we are one. We are grateful. God bless and amen. I love you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
happy you're visiting with us online today. We love connecting with people all across the country and around the world, sharing our powerful message of love beyond belief.
There's something new happening here. You can now join All Souls as a virtual member. Our virtual membership is designed for friends who live outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and who want to engage with All Souls in a meaningful way.
You can be part of an expanding family, a global family really, wherever you are. If you live in Oklahoma,
Ohio,
or Orange County, California,
Canada,
or Cameroon. By becoming a virtual member, you'll be able to deepen your connections with members and friends here in Tulsa and with members wherever you are.
Each week, you'll receive special All Souls content tailored for you, our virtual members. Virtual members have access to pastoral care, to personal prayers, and also receive invitations to exclusive web events.
You can learn more, and if you're ready, you can become a virtual member today by visiting allsoulschurch.org/virtual membership.
We're grateful our ministries are having a positive impact on your life, and we want to share the good news of love beyond belief with more and more people. So no matter what, we need your support to keep this ministry growing and thriving, so please consider making a gift today. You can do so by texting
LOVEBB for Love Beyond Belief to 73256, or simply visit our website. You are a blessing in our lives. May you be blessed.
And be a blessing.